In the previous episode, I brought up a list of the names of the early apostles, and this list in itself is apparently a point of some controversy. I came across this meme many years ago, and it says, how did Jesus find guys named Peter, John, James, Matthew, Andrew, Philip, Thomas, and Simon in the Middle East? The point it's making is that these aren't the kind of names that you would expect to find in the Middle East 2,000 years ago. These are English-sounding names. So I guess this meme writer is trying to cast doubt on the historical nature of the Bible, perhaps saying that the Bible must have been written by English speakers maybe, who had no concept of what a Hebrew name actually sounded like. Okay, this question has a very straightforward answer. The names that we know the apostles by today in the English-speaking world are not the original names. The names that we know the apostles by today are just English translations or renderings of the original names. So, these are the original names of the early apostles. Peter was known as Kephas, which is Aramaic, it means stone. Andrew would have been known as Androus, which is actually Greek in origin. James would have been known as Yaakov, John Johanan, Simon Shimon. Judas would have been known as Yehuda, Matthew Maticha, Thomas Town, Philip Philippos. That's another Greek origin name. Then we have Bartholomew, who would have been known as Bartalmi. That's an Aramaic name. Then we have Thaddeus, who would have been known as Taddai or Levavia. And then Matthias, again, probably would have been called Maticha. Apologies for these pronunciations, any Hebrew speakers. I'm just hearing my Scottish accent saying these words, Maticha. Probably sounds nothing like that, but you get the point. We've just translated these Hebrew, these Greek, these Aramaic names into their English versions. That's all we've done. And actually on that point, it's worth saying that Jesus himself wasn't even originally called Jesus either. So Jesus is just an English translation of the original Hebrew name, which is Yeshua. Yeshua became Jesus in Greek, which then became Jesus in English. Now, this is a perfectly normal thing to do, and every country, therefore, translates these names differently according to their own language. So, for example, we render the name Johannan as John in English, but if you went to a Germanic or a Dutch-speaking country, it would become Johann, Johannes, Jan, Jens, or Hans. These names all come from exactly the same root. If you went to France, it would become Jean. If you went to Italy, it would become Giovanni. In Spanish-speaking countries, it becomes Juan. In Portuguese, it becomes João. These are all the same name from the same root, but just rendered differently by the various world languages. And that's why we in English-speaking countries use the English versions of the names, because we speak English. And that's all there is to it. So this has been Mark for the Fuel Project, or Marcos, or Marcus, or Marco, or Marcus, or Mark, or Marku, or Marek, or Maleko, or that.
标记